Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch from Crime Talk, and thanks for watching. Let's get right to the docket. First, an update from Kentucky on the Breonna Taylor case. Second, Lori Vallow's friends are talking to the news media. More details on the allegations against actor Danny Masterson, our dumb criminal contestant of the day, and a little unboxing. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch from Crime Talk, and thanks for watching. We have a busy docket, but before we do that today, first, if you haven't already done so, hit that little subscribe button, hit that little bell so that you receive notifications of when we go live or put up new content, and as always, leave us a comment below about what we talk about here today. First on the docket, Breonna Taylor. Yep, that's the case from Kentucky where the police officers kind of went into the wrong house, went into the wrong house based upon bad information with a no-knock warrant. Her boyfriend, a gentleman by the name of Kenneth Walker, shoots back, not knowing that it's the police, originally was charged with attempted murder on a police officer, and ultimately those charges were dismissed. Well, there's been a lot of outrage that nothing has taken place as it relates to this particular case, as far as police being fired, because let's face it, somebody screwed something up. Well, guess what? Today, Kentucky officials reported the process of firing an officer involved in the death of Breonna. And now remember, Breonna was an EMT, and she was shot multiple times. The police fired some 30 rounds when Mr. Walker shot only one round in the course of that exchange. Well, now, of course, with privacy laws and employment laws, the Kentucky officials have stated that they are going to fire, or in the process of firing, Detective Brett Hankinson. Now, he's 44, and he was one of the officers obviously involved in Breonna's death. Now, state law prevents officials from disclosing the timing or reasoning behind Hankinson's firing. However, earlier this month, the same officials confirmed they were investigating claims that Hankinson had sexually assaulted two women while on duty. Apparently, and allegedly, we'll give him the presumption of innocence, two women described similar encounters with Hankinson. They alleged that they were on their way home from bars when Hankinson, while in uniform, offered them a ride in a marked police vehicle. Once the women were in the car, he then forced himself upon them. Hankinson is also the subject of a federal lawsuit in which he is characterized as a, quote, dirty cop, end quote, who allegedly planted drugs and framed people. The civil lawsuit was filed by a Kendrick Wilson, who alleged that Hankinson had arrested him 3 times between 2016 and 2018, each time at a bar Hankinson was working at off-duty. And Wilson also claims that Hankinson had a relationship with the same woman. So, at least something is being done to get rid of police officers who may not be upholding the highest levels of integrity that they should. It's a little disheartening that you can allegedly screw up a raid, a no-knock raid where somebody gets killed because you put the bad information in the arrest warrant and go to the wrong house, and that's not going to get you fired. But the police are going to draw the line when you start sexually harassing females in your police car. So at least a few steps are being made, but they should have been firing Detective Wilkerson for the death of Breonna Taylor, possibly even criminal charges. Before we get to the Lori Vallow news, let's take a quick recess. And we have been talking about this for weeks now, a sponsor here, and that is a background check organization, People Finder. Once you purchase a subscription, you have unlimited searches for background searches. You can search anonymously. You can search public records literally all the way across the United States. We're talking billions of records from millions of databases, something that you could not do yourself, certainly not for the low cost of a subscription to People Finder. And the information that comes up in the search includes criminal records, bankruptcy records, court records, property records. You can do this yourself. We've used it here at our firm. It has saved us a lot of time and our clients a lot of money. Who would you possibly want to conduct a background check on? Well, you could always do a background check on yourself to see if there's any derogatory information out there or perhaps judgments that you were not aware about. Second, what if you have a potential love interest and you'd like to find out information about them? Maybe they're a registered sex offender. Maybe they have domestic violence convictions. Maybe those are things that you would like to know before you spend too much time getting to know them. And with a subscription to a background check, you can find that information out before you waste all that time and energy getting to know someone that you probably should have stayed away with. Go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up for the subscription. You will be satisfied. Next on the docket, Lori Vallow's former friends are talking more to the media. In an upcoming Dateline interview, former Lori Vallow friend Melanie Gibbs describes the Vallow and Daybell relationship of that of gasoline and fire. It's also being reported that this former friend of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell will testify in proceedings related to Vallow's niece, Melanie Polwansky, that she visited the couple in Hawaii after Vallow's 2 children disappeared. It's alleged that Melanie Gibbs will testify regarding her knowledge as it relates to a conversation with Mother regarding the attempt on Father's life, Mother's beliefs, Mother's travels to Hawaii in October to spend time with Lori Vallow Daybell, and all other aspects of the case in which she has direct knowledge. And the Preparing of a People is a so-called media organization that published books and podcasts describing the end of days. And Daybell is believed to have been a prominent member, and Vallow and Gibbs were actively involved as well. As briefly stated in an upcoming interview, Dateline Gibbs will discuss Lori and Chad's relationship. In a preview clip, it states that both Lori and Chad were equally destructive. She also gives an account when they visited a BYU university site in Idaho, and they were rather affectionate while Chad Daybell was still married. You always have to be a little concerned when former friends, disgruntled friends, are providing information, but we will take it at face value at this point, and we'll see where it goes. Next on the docket, we talked yesterday about the case of Danny Masterson. He is the actor, lives in L.A., and has been charged with 3 counts of sexual assault. He was kind of got his big break, so to speak, on the 70s show and was recently on a series on Netflix called The Ranch before Netflix parted ways with him based upon these allegations that have been swirling around for years. In these allegations, and obviously Mr. Masterson is given the presumption of innocence, but 3 women have come forward disclosing that they were sexually assaulted by Masterson during the early 2000s. According to several of the women, they were pressured by the Church of Scientology not to contact authorities about their claims. Apparently, Mr. Masterson is a member of Scientology. According to police reports, one woman alleged that Masterson was having sex with her without her consent while she was asleep. A second woman alleges that she was sexually assaulted while she was passed out. Now, Mr. Masterson, through his attorney, Mr. Tom Mesereau, absolutely denies these allegations, and Mr. Mesereau states that Mr. Masterson will, in fact, be vindicated. The information that we know is that in November of 2017, one of the accusers, a woman by the name of Chrissy Carnell Bixler, came forward publicly. She told the Daily Beast at the time that she could no longer be silent, adding that the only way to protect ourselves is to speak out. In that same statement, she blasted Netflix at that time for keeping Masterson on the show The Ranch. Ultimately, Netflix and Masterson parted ways. Not only has Netflix parted ways, but United Talent Agency, a very large Hollywood agency, confirmed that they no longer represent Masterson after a 20-year relationship with him. Then in August of 2019, 4 accusers sued Masterson and the Church of Scientology. In that civil suit, Bixler and a woman by the name of Miss Realis and 2 anonymous Jane Does accused Masterson and the church of engaging in stalking, physical invasion of privacy, and a conspiracy to obstruct justice, among other allegations. One of the accusers was, in fact, Mr. Masterson's ex-girlfriend, and in a statement, he said he was not going to respond and engage in a fight with his ex-girlfriend in the media like she's been baiting me to do for more than 2 years. Mr. Masterson stated that he's been railroaded by these women and that the truth will, in fact, come out, which is what we always seek in the litigation process, whether it's civil or criminal. The prosecutors alleged that Masterson sexually assaulted a 23-year-old woman sometime in 2001, a 28-year-old woman in April of 2003, and a 23-year-old woman between October and December of 2003. All these allegations were alleged to have taken place at Mr. Masterson's home. Mr. Masterson faces 45 years to life in prison. We're certainly going to follow this one, as this will clearly be an interesting case given the age of the allegations, why the police finally decided to come forward and prosecute the case some 19 and 17 years respectively after these allegations were made, as well as someone that has the means to provide a vigorous criminal defense in this particular matter. This could be a dogfight. Next on the docket, our dumb criminal contestant of the day, a recap of our contestants, and you all get to pick the dumb criminal contestant of the week. Contestant of the day is a gentleman by the name of Johnny Brian DeVault, and he is accused of striking a gentleman by the name of Nicholas Reardon in the back of the head in an attempt to cause him physical harm, according to police affidavits. Now, why would Mr. DeVault be striking this gentleman? Well, apparently Mr. Reardon, the victim of the case, was out protesting in support of Black Lives Matters. And Mr. DeVault apparently didn't like him, so therefore he sucker punched and cold cocked Mr. Reardon. Now, I am a firm believer in the First Amendment. I believe that everyone should be able to go out and have peaceful protests. And just like someone destroying a building, the people that attack peaceful protesters, they're going to have some problems. And where does Mr. DeVault's problem come in? Well, first of all, he shouldn't have been interfering with a protest. But second of all, he apparently did it when he was captured by multiple video cameras. So all they had to do was find him. And guess what they did? They did find him through his prior mugshot. Now, maybe the Mr. DeVault, who's 64 years old, will have some leniency given to him, perhaps. But when you go around cold cocking people, it's not a good claim for self-defense. Now, a quick recap of our dumb criminal contestants of the week. For those of you keeping score at home, we will have a poll where you can vote. So obviously, we have the 64-year-old man who doesn't like people protesting. Not a good fight. We have the naked man walking down the street naked in Florida on LSD. We have the Nebraska gentleman, Mr. Stinson, who threw a White Claw at police officers. We have the Colorado man, Scott Goodmanson, 65, who held a couple of door-to-door salesmen at gunpoint because he thought they were Antifa members because of their masks. And finally, we had the couple from Kentucky who was photographing their 2-year-old child smoking pot. What clearly is shown is that some people do not necessarily get smarter with age. Now, vote in the poll and we will let you know who wins on Monday. Now, something today, unboxing. I received an email the other day that I would be receiving a package. All right. Now, everybody loves surprises, so I'm not really sure what it is, but we will open it with you, and hopefully it's a good surprise, and we will see what is in it. Let's see if we can get this open. I brought a handy-dandy knife to see if we can get this open. It appears as though they taped it up rather well. And what do we have? It was just, like I said, received an email that these items would in fact be arriving. It's labeled to me. And as we open up the package, oh, look at this. Look at this. See, I told people the other day You can't go wrong. Don't do drugs. Don't do alcohol. But fine cigars. Look at this. Look at this, an assortment of fine cigars. So thank you all. Have a great day. Thanks for watching Crime Talk, and we will see you next week.